and became the party of rebels and minorities. The disaffected turned to them. They were the Robin Hoods of Islam and learned to be utterly ruthless. Fated to remain a minority in the early Islamic world, the Shiites only claimed one major territory for themselves, and that was here in Cairo when the Fatimids arrived. The Fatimids took their name from Fatima, Muhammad's favourite daughter, the mother of Hussein. They too claimed descent from the Prophet, and these Fatimids built Cairo from scratch. There was nothing here when they arrived, and apparently they called their new capital Al-Qaira, the Conqueror, after the planet Mars, which was in the ascendancy when they got here. Some would say the planet Mars has been in the ascendancy around here ever since. The Fatimids were a revolutionary force in Islamic art. They changed many things. Here at the Azhar Mosque, bang in the heart of Cairo, they built a cluster of colleges devoted to the pursuit of knowledge. It was the world's first university, founded in 972. Yes, 972. The Fatimids were particularly keen on education as a way of spreading the Shiite theology and gaining extra converts in secret. It's a different route to power, and some still employ it. See these arches? Keel-shaped, they're called. Those were a Fatimid invention. Cairo is particularly good for arches. That mosque with the spiral minaret has pointed arches, superb pointed arches. They weren't an Islamic invention. The Sassanids had used them already, but Islam developed and popularized the pointed arch, and then passed it westwards so that the Gothic age could happen. Gothic owes so much to Islam. I love these spaces, these forests of columns. This is called the hypostyle type of mosque, which basically means that it has lots and lots of columns supporting a flat roof. It's a very simple way of building, descended directly from that portico in the Prophet's courtyard, where the palm trees and the thatch gave his followers somewhere to shelter from the sun. This does exactly the same. But see here, where the mihrab is, a small dome, a widening, because almost despite itself, Islam was developing a need to mark its most holy wall more grandly. It's a tendency we'll be keeping an eye on, because this need to rise up to dizzy heights becomes one of the key issues in Islamic architecture. Among the most famous of all Quranic verses is the one inscribed most often on mosque lamps. It's called the light verse, Surah 24:35. God is the light of heaven and earth. The similitude of his light is a niche in the wall. The glass appears as if it were a shining star.
We know this is royal. It was made for Sultan Barkuk, the Egyptian ruler. We know the date, which is about 1385.
It's dated, is it?
It's toward the end of, no, we know when he ruled. That's why we know the date.
And this would hang Just in front
Either in the mosque or in the house. But they call it mosque lamp because that is the description that was given when it was produced. But it didn't mean that it was specifically used in the mosque. It was probably was used in probably homes and palaces too. And then there were chains coming from here, holding this. And most of the time, they had a ball, which was like an ostrich egg, sitting on the top of the lamp. And there was always a question, how come they needed to have an ostrich-shaped glass bowl sitting between the chain that connected the lamp to the ceiling? And usually, obviously, they had candle inside. The reason was that they didn't want to have animals falling into it.
I see.
So if
that's where you connected the flies.
That's correct. Or
and
flies,
the moths.
sometimes maybe mice. They fall outside of the lamp rather than falling into it.
That's excellently practical.
Yeah.
Can you imagine this, though, with a candle inside flickering?
Thinking that this is almost 700 years old.
Egypt has a special relationship with precious stones. You know those stories of Cleopatra's fabulous emerald mines? Well, they're not stories. Cleopatra really did have fabulous emerald mines, and she was an ancient Egyptian connoisseur of the sparkling gemstone, as were the Fatimids. The most precious and magical of all Fatimid treasures were actually made from the most abundant mineral on Earth. Scientists, who have their own miraculous ways of calculating these things, tell us that 12% of the Earth's crust is made of quartz. And quartz, in its clearest form, is called rock crystal. They don't mine it around here anymore, but they used to. It was as common in the deserts of Egypt as sand. Actually, it basically was sand, silicon dioxide. But the craftsmen of the Fatimids worked great magic with rock crystal. They took blocks of it, much larger than this, and carved away the insides until the walls of their rock crystal ewers and drinking glasses were as thin as paper. Crystals, like these, are of course what crystal balls used by fortune tellers used to be made from. And crystals always had this otherworldly aspect. The actual word comes from the Greek kristallos, which means ice. And the ancients believed this really was divine ice, trapped in the mountains, waiting to be revealed. And all this superstitious history, this magic air, brought extra sparkle to the rock crystal masterpieces of the Fatimids. There's something else about rock crystal, something even more pertinent than its delicate beauty and its mystical air. According to the Quran, the goblets passed around among the faithful in paradise are also carved of rock crystal.